Hi everyone. I apologize for my voice. At the time of this recording, I am recovering from COVID. But welcome to my poster presentation titled Gender Euphoria, a Direction for Trans-Affirmative Research and Care. My name is Danielle, and doctors Shelley Russell Mayhew, Tanya Callahan, and Andrew Estevan have contributed to this research and this presentation. Starting with an introduction, I'm sure we're all aware that the experiences of transgender people are often reduced to singular negative narratives. These narratives often portray bleak outlooks and center on pathology. But in reality, of course, their experiences are far more diverse and multifaceted. And by exploring gender euphoria, or the joy of living as one's gender, whatever that might mean to each person, is a place to focus and explore other alternative narratives. Gender euphoria can be how one experiences their gender, personal expression, and so on. And it is a highly individual experience, and so this lends a great opportunity to explore alternative narratives and push against harmful singular ones. To do this, narrative inquiry was used. Narrative inquiry is a qualitative method that emphasizes stories and experiences without searching for generalizations or concrete facts or answers. It is simply to honor the voices and experiences of people, particularly those whose voices have been largely ignored. Consistent with the research, 3 participants have been recruited. 1 to 2 interviews have been done with each participant so far, and there will likely be around 2 to 4 interviews with each participant, with additional conversations to co-construct their individual stories of gender euphoria. Thus far, these preliminary findings have emerged from my conversations with the participants. First is Sam, who is a 26-year-old genderqueer individual of Haitian descent who uses he/him pronouns. For Sam, he experienced gender euphoria as a feeling of freedom and love for and from others, a sense of community with those who understand him, and family. He also noted the film Moonlight as standing out for him in his identity journey. Specifically, the conversations around identity, Black masculinity, and gender in the film were poignant for him. The film spoke to challenges of feeling constrained by gender expectations and the multiple layers that can exist with this, and the freedom of going beyond this to live as oneself and finding connection with others. Solar is 21, gender fluid, uses any pronouns, and is Chinese. For them, their experiences of gender euphoria are strongly connected to their culture, fashion, positive representation in media, and a sense of community and connection. Specifically, Solar connected to ancient Chinese culture, which, looking from our modern lens, can appear to be quite androgynous. People of all genders at the time had long hair, long clothing, typically called hanfu, and these clothes could resemble robes or dresses in more modern times. The image at the center, specifically, is from a show called Heaven Official's Blessing. Solar and I bonded over our love for the show and the novel, and one of the characters is thought to be gender fluid, as their gender and appearance changes based on how they want to present. For Solar, a lot of their experiences with gender euphoria are tied to Chinese culture, which they felt Heaven Official's Blessing did well at capturing all of this. Lastly, we have Stephen, who is a 24-year-old Black non-binary individual who uses he/him pronouns. For Stephen, gender euphoria is related to representation in the media and being able to feel seen and heard in characters and stories. Gender euphoria is also related to growth for Stephen. Specifically, gender euphoria and gender identity in general was something that he felt that they really have to nurture. It's not something that happens overnight, but something that takes time. So what implications does this all have? For future research, this current study and gender euphoria in general demonstrates the importance of considering the diversity and uniqueness of experience. This includes, of course, intersectionality. For Solar, for example, their experience of gender euphoria was also strongly connected to their cultural identity, and so it's important to consider these layers in research. Similarly, it is important that research with trans folks shifts away from sweeping generalizations and singular, often negative narratives. Gender euphoria is also important to consider in physical and mental health care. Supporting clients in nurturing a connection with gender is important. This could be in the therapy space and/or in medical care if there are certain interventions that can support clients in experiencing a positive connection with their gender. It is also important for therapists to reflect on their practice with trans folks. Do therapists see trans folks through a singular lens? Do they see their experiences as wholly negative, and are they unable to look beyond this? All of these are really important to consider. For the trans community, the hope is that this research will support spaces for all voices to be shared and heard, not just ones that fit with dominant narratives and not just the ones that are the loudest. The hope is to continue to consider and emphasize that each person's experience is unique and there are multiple layers to gender euphoria, which can involve connection with various other identities. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something new. Thanks, everybody.